Yeah, what is good, everybody? I hope you all made some good money today. We're making some good money in the Discord on oil and SPY, and that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. The market's at an interesting spot, and it's really important to know what can happen and what to do for whatever happens and be ready for all scenarios. So we're just going to get into it. Make sure to show the video some love, give it a like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So to start off, we got oil here. So I'm going to show you a message from the Discord. So if you, I'm just going to kind of talk about the whole process that we've been playing for the past 2 weeks. If you remember, we went long. We rode this entire wedge up. We shorted at the top, and we stalled a little early. This went much, much deeper than I expected. But then we went long down here, and that's what I'm going to show you in the Discord. So we went long right in this region, and I was targeting that purple box, which we hit today. And so that's what we did in the Discord. We took a profit right at that top, and what has happened since then, we've corrected. So we got that top, sold the top, and now it's just at an interesting spot. You know, I said it's looking like it's flagging. It doesn't look very bullish, this kind of structure. So, you know, I drew this out in yesterday's video, I believe. It's most likely going to be something like that, but it can change. We'll see. It's not looking exactly bullish, but we'll see. I kind of want to see this bottom trend line get broken, especially this low, and then we can really talk about going lower into the 60s, which ultimately that has been my target. But before this wedge played out, I said we need this to play out. We need upside first, and that's what we got. So natural gas, you know, we're still waiting for. I would like to see that one last low. I really I accidentally moved this around. Let me put this back up. So roughly that's roughly the target. It's not perfect, but I really want to see that 3.41 get hit, but it might not get hit. So if it does, I'm very likely going to be going long in futures. Just wait for that kind of bottoming structure, confirmation, turning up. Just use whatever I can to know when the bottom is in. Because from there, if you trade in futures, that's an $18,000 dollar move you can catch. So I don't want to miss this. I really want that opportunity to come, but it might not. So we'll see where it goes from here. Yeah, we just gotta see where it goes from here. And today, this morning, that's what I was targeting here in the Discord. You know what I'm talking about? That region of illiquidity. That's what got hit. Same thing with oil, and you're gonna see that on SPY too. So still waiting on natural gas. Not too much to say, but I think the really safe play would be after we get this bounce, whether we get that one more low and then we run, or we just start going up from here. It's a decently safe short from this region up here, which we're going to be talking about once we start getting up there. So US dollar, very interesting. This is kind of making it tricky. This is where it's getting tricky for me because the DXY has dropped. It made that new low, but at the same time, the markets are dropping too. So that inflationary environment correlation isn't really showing like it used to. Like DXY would go up, markets would go down, and it was pretty much perfect, spot on. And it was really easy to use these together to kind of figure out what the market might want to do. So now it looks like the DXY is ready for a bounce. You have these divergences forming. You're at this kind of support here, which doesn't exactly have to hold. You know, maybe we broke it, we're going to test it and reject. But this thing should probably bounce. You know, nothing can go down forever. That's just not how it works. Everything develops in waves. There are always ups and downs. So I'd be looking for a bounce. You know, you got quite a bit of room to test up here. So it's a really interesting spot because if the US dollar moves up, well, doesn't that mean the markets would move down? And the markets have already dropped pretty hard. And we're going to talk about this, but I closed my short right down here. I did not expect the drop to be this much today, but we'll talk about that more when we get there. So DXY, it's looking like it wants to bounce, but I'm not sure what the effect will be if it does. And it could break the bottom. We'll see. Jerome Powell might say something. CPI might do something. We'll just have to see. Apple. We got a nice move today in the morning, but it did come down a little bit afterwards, but you got that nice little gap fill right there. So interesting spot. You above that support I was looking for to get reclaimed. Yeah, very interesting spot. So we're going to be watching. This is a very important trend line to hold. We're just going to have to see if that trend line holds. So that's roughly 128, 129ish. And you also have this fib level here, the 0.786, which prior to this has proven itself to be somewhat of a decent support, as you can see. So that blue line right here, if you can see that. So it definitely reacts with that line. We'll see if it can hold this region between 131 and 128. Tesla got that move up like I said I was expecting. And I was expecting a rejection at this level, this region 125ish, because this was quite the move up we had today. And I believe we were like up yesterday as well. So it's been kind of on a tear the past 2 days. And I was expecting a rejection from right here because it's going to be tricky, but I do ultimately think that's going to get broken and we could see a little more upside, but you still have resistances above, so like I've been saying, it's going to be a process. Amazon, that channel we're still watching, tested that big trend line, so kind of at a couple interesting spots here. Yeah, we'll have to see what it does. We really just want to see it get through this channel line right here. And then you could see that big break up to 110 to 105. LabU, I said, if it can't get through this region, it might come back down, test 660. And if it doesn't hold 660, can return back down to the bottom of that range. So really not too much to say. It's as simple as that. Yeah, not too much to say. You're just going to have to see if 660 holds. It could test this region again, or it could come back down to the bottom of the range. SOXL, not really too much to say here. Yeah, there's not really too much to say, except, actually, I kind of missed this. SOXS is back down to support that it just doesn't break. This thing is a diamond support, so odds are it holds. We'll have to see. Maybe even an inverse head and shoulders here. We'll have to see. This line doesn't really break, so it would be a little surprising if it does break, and the downside there's a lot of downsides, so it's important that this holds, and this would also kind of give me a bias that the market could move down so that this can get some relief. So it's been a little red lately, pushing down 30% from down here. If you just kind of add it together a little, I'm going to put down the measured moves, yeah, 32%, so that's kind of interesting. Watch that line. You could play something off of it if it decides to hold. The VIX still hasn't broken out yet. Not too much to say. Got a gap down here. So you got a small gap here. Just gotta wait to see what it does once it gets past the apex right here. Okay, so on to SPY. So I'm gonna show you a couple messages from the Discord. Yeah, I'm just gonna show you those messages now. So if you took that straddle, we took that straddle at, I believe it was like 381. It was right before this breakout. Give me a sec to kind of make everything visible here. And I'll put everything back up. But so we're in this volume pocket. And what did we expect this morning in the Discord? Well, I was expecting this to happen. We hit the top of the volume gap. As you can see, sellers were going to come in there, and we could reject all the way back down to 386. And what happened? Well, in futures, this is actually equivalent to 386 right now, like on the dot basically. So we were back at the bottom of this volume gap. So that's pretty interesting to me. We're going to have to see if 386 holds. That's a very important support. And that's really what you seriously need to be watching right now, because if you don't, you can give it some leeway. I guess I'm just going to put everything back up. But what I was saying about the straddle, I want to say this quick. So we took all of the profits pretty much, at least a majority, at the top of the volume gap. And since then, we've just been kind of waiting. Really good returns on it. So yeah, now it's just a question of, are we going to hold this pullback? So I had that short position yesterday. I averaged up a little and I closed it in the green. And now it's just, will it hold this pullback? We dropped more than I expected today. So I didn't really want to continue holding those short positions. If we bounced, I was actually going to consider continue holding them. But now it's just like, it's a little too much downside without relief. So, um, like I said, nothing goes down forever. So this was that general structure I was looking for. I also said that in yesterday's video. I said either we have topped here. Um, it's a little weird with extended hours. So either we topped here and we were going to get that pullback, and it was going to look like this, um, like that, or we had already retraced enough, and we're going to make one more high, and then get a nice correction down to that region. So this is what's happening. Everything's going to plan, but it's just, will we hold this retrace? That's the most important thing to be watching. So that range to hold goes down to just under 384. Under this, so 383.80ish, you can give it some leeway. It can wick down, trap bears. You can do something like this. So you kind of have to watch for like a really big break, a comeback, comes back up, tests, rejects, something like that really validates the strength of the break below this big support. That would put it back under the volume gap. So there would be a lot of concern for the bulls if it gets underneath this range right here. So I still am looking for this general structure going into tomorrow. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna go on to ES and take a look at that. I actually might go long overnight. I'll have to see. This is some pretty nasty downside without relief. So the general structure I would be looking for is we drop, come back up, and get one more low. And the target I would be looking for is this fib measurement right here. You can see that the B wave likes to go to the 50%. Well, more often than not, the golden pocket, but it can stop here at the 50%, but it very often goes to that golden pocket. So that's a pretty nice move here. That would put SPY back around, I believe, 391 to 392. So we moved down a little bit in after hours. So yeah, that would put it at 391 to 390 actually. This level right here, so around 391. So I would like to see a bounce going into the morning, followed by another low, and we dropped so much that it's a little concerning. I just didn't think we would drop this much. So if we don't hold this retrace, it could get bad and you could really start plummeting soon. But if it does hold, well, you have 5 up here, 3 down, and what comes after that, another 5 up. So that's kind of the general picture I'm looking for. We're just going to have to see how this retrace holds up. So not much to say other than that. Join the Discord if you really want to be on top of this during market hours, and that's where I'm going to leave this video. So if you watched the whole thing through, make sure to show it some love, give it a like and subscribe, and peace out, guys.